Welcome to Mental Models Daily, where we explore one mental model each day to help you elevate your daily decision-making. Today, we're diving into a crucial concept in statistical analysis and scientific research: p-values. P-values, short for probability values, are a fundamental tool in the world of statistics and scientific inquiry. They help researchers determine whether their results are statistically significant or if they could have occurred by chance. It's like a measure of surprise. How surprising would these results be if there were truly no effect in the population? The concept of p-values, as we know them today, was developed in the 1920s by Ronald Fisher, one of the fathers of modern statistics. At its core, a p-value represents the probability of obtaining results at least as extreme as those observed, assuming that the null hypothesis is true. In simpler terms, it's the likelihood of seeing your data, or more extreme data, if there really is no effect or difference. Let's consider an example. Imagine a researcher is testing whether a new teaching method improves test scores. They compare the scores of students taught with the new method to those taught with the traditional method. After running a statistical test, they get a p-value of 0.03. This means that if the new method actually had no effect, the null hypothesis, there's only a 3% chance of seeing a difference in scores as large as or larger than what they observed. It's like saying, if this teaching method doesn't work, we'd only expect to see results this impressive 3 times out of 100 by sheer chance. In the business world, p-values are used in a variety of contexts, from A/B testing in marketing to quality control in manufacturing. A company might use p-values to determine if a new website design significantly improves conversion rates, or if a change in the production process has truly reduced defects. It's like having a tool to distinguish between real improvements and random fluctuations in your business metrics. The power of p-values lies in their ability to quantify the strength of evidence against the null hypothesis. They provide a standardized way to assess whether observed differences or effects are statistically significant. However, it's crucial to remember that statistical significance doesn't always equate to practical significance. It's like having a very sensitive scale. It can detect tiny differences, but you need to decide if those differences matter in the real world. So, how can we apply the concept of p-values in our daily lives? Firstly, understanding p-values can make us more critical consumers of scientific and statistical information. When we encounter claims based on research, we can look for information about statistical significance and p-values. It's like having a built-in filter for assessing the strength of evidence behind various claims, helping us distinguish between robust findings and potentially fluky results. Secondly, the concept of p-values reminds us to consider the role of chance in our observations. Just because we see a pattern or difference doesn't necessarily mean it's meaningful or reproducible. It's like developing a healthy skepticism about apparent trends or effects, especially when based on small samples or limited data. This can be particularly useful in fields like finance or sports analytics, where random fluctuations can often be mistaken for meaningful patterns. Lastly, thinking in terms of p-values can improve our decision-making by encouraging us to quantify uncertainty. While we may not calculate actual p-values in our daily lives, we can adopt the mindset of asking, how likely is it that I'd see this result if there were really nothing going on? It's like having a mental tool for gauging how surprised we should be by our observations, helping us to make more informed decisions in the face of uncertainty. In conclusion, p-values are a powerful tool for quantifying statistical significance and the strength of evidence against a null hypothesis. By embracing this mental model, we can become more sophisticated in our interpretation of data and research findings, more cautious about jumping to conclusions based on limited evidence, and more nuanced in our understanding of uncertainty and chance. In a world where we're constantly bombarded with data and statistical claims, the ability to think critically about p-values and statistical significance is more valuable than ever. Thank you for joining me today on Mental Models Daily. Until next time, may your p-values be small and your conclusions statistically sound. For more mental models, please visit mentalmodelsdaily.com or find us on X or Instagram. Our podcast music was provided by the Podcast Host.com and Alitu, the podcast maker. Find your own free podcast music over at thepodcasthost.com/free music.